Hey guys, good morning. Today we are going to discuss Mark chapter 12, verse 38 to 44. Today we are going to complete this 12th chapter. Now we are going to prepare some questions regarding these verses. The first question: why did Jesus warn people about the scribes? Why did Jesus warn people about the scribes? And the second question: in what way is it dangerous that the people's religious leaders behave like this? And the third question we can prepare: what was their motivation? Why did they do this? The fourth question: what does this teach us about people? The fifth question: is it wrong to wear nice clothes? What is the problem? The last question we can see: what can we learn about prayer in this passage? So now we are going to discuss verse by verse. Beware of the scribes. The first one: Jesus was not afraid of rumpling feathers. He spoke the truth which needed to be said, even if it is upset powerful people. Think for a second how bold Jesus was. He went into the temple, the lion's den. This was the domain of the most powerful Jews in Israel. People who hated them, with all of them watching, waiting and scheming for a way to kill him. He speaks out against them. He didn't beat around the bush or subtly hint at their problems. Instead, he laid them right out in the open for everyone to see. We should remember that Jesus was not seeking a fight. At other times, he purposefully avoided confrontations with the Pharisees, and because at those times it would have distracted from his ministry. But now his ministry is coming to a close, and he needs to grab this chance to warn the people about the wolves in sheep clothing who are leading them spiritually. Who like to walk around in long robes? Why? They liked special clothing so that all the people who saw them would immediately know their rank and position. Passers-by would immediately give them the attention and deference which they sought. Perhaps they could jump to the front of the line at the market or get discounts or special favors. As they passed by, heads would turn and eyes would stare. People would whisper, "The ghost Rabbi Ben Judah." And this recognition was exactly what they wanted. What kind of application we can learn from these verses? In this day and age, many people still dress to be noticed. In the Western world, a lot of people color their hair blue or red or pink or other absurd colors. One of the reasons is that they are dying for attention. Sometimes people get tattoos for the same reason, or piercings in strange places. Heavy makeup and funky styles are other examples. Even in church, people may dress up because they want others to notice how nice they always look. Perhaps a guy dresses up to impress a girl or vice versa. Ladies especially, but guys too, may spend lots of time in front of the mirror to look just right so that they will turn heads. Unfortunately, some ladies wear very little for the same reason. They want to attention and feel that they need to expose themselves in order to get it. And they will draw attention, but often from unscrupulous characters. Those who notice them are noticing their body and not who they are, although the one is a reflection of the other. So it is wrong to dress up. So is it wrong to dress up? Is it right to dress up? Should we dress casually or sloppily? If you focus on the external appearance, we are missing the point. Our key desire should be to please God. From that angle, certain ways of dressing certainly don't please God. A simple question to ask yourself is, would I want to meet Jesus dressed like this? If the answer is yes, it is probably okay to wear it. Be a good testimony to the people around you and don't seek to draw attention to yourself just to get it. The third one is like respectful greetings in the marketplaces. Another manifestation of their desire for recognition from people was their habit of giving and seeking these special greetings. If anyone didn't notice them by their special clothing, they would surely notice after their extra loud and extra courteous greetings. You can almost imagine the pious religion dripping from their robes as they walked by offering greeting after greeting. The problem was not greeting others, the problem was their motivation. They were greeting others because they wanted to be noticed and they wanted to impress others with their smooth words and religion. Imagine if I go to church all dressed up and loudly greet every single member whom I see with an especially smooth greeting. People would notice me. Mission accomplished. While this action was not wrong, the motivation behind it was. We would do well to always ask ourselves why we do what we do. Keep evaluating your hearts at all times. Cheap seats and places of honor. These guys would always try to get the places of honor for themselves. They would love the red carpets, long-winded speeches, and luxurious cars with special licenses plates that are part of the lavish ceremonies of officials in anywhere. These guys started doing this kind of thing almost 2000 years even before there was a peoples in other areas, and they are not alone. It is a human nature. We want this credit. We like to be complimented. We like to be honored. We like to be noticed. We like to be popular, don't we? I do. Now that we follow Christ, we need to be different. We are no longer to live seeking our own way. Instead, we are to remember Jesus' reminder that the first will be last and the last will be first. Who devour widows' houses? It is not completely clear what Jesus refers to. A good guess is that it refers to these religious leaders taking advantage of the poor and unsuspecting financially. Unfortunately, wolves have been using the name of religion to exploit the elderly and unsuspecting for thousands of years. There is an entire network in the US called TBN, which has a lineup of tele-evangelists, many of whom are doing just that. Many of them outright beg for money. They might be preaching on Psalm 119 and say that every person needs to give something. They have agents at phone banks ready to take donations. Meanwhile, they make grandiose and unbiblical promises that God is going to return many times over what they donated if they just have faith. These speakers dress immaculately, masters of persuasion. They are excellent speakers whose words flow from their lips like honey. Example, Calvary Temple. The promises implant pictures in people's mind which leaves them almost in a trance. Many stories have broken how Navy people gave their entire life savings never to see it again. Perhaps the religious leaders of Jesus' day financially exploited others as well. We see from their attitudes toward the crowds and uneducated that they looked down on the sinners around them with contempt. Probably they convinced themselves that they were doing a good thing by robbing them. For appearance sake, offer long prayers. A long prayer is not by its nature any more spiritual than a shorter prayer. Long words are not any more spiritual than short words. Repetition does not make one's prayer any more spiritual. Rise and fall of tone does not make it any spiritual. Using Christian words doesn't make a prayer any better. Memorizing it ahead of time doesn't speak it loudly or quietly doesn't. What makes prayer spiritual? What make a prayer worthy in God's ears? We can look at John chapter 4 verse 24. This doesn't refer exclusively to prayer, but I believe it applies. Our prayers are to be in spirit and truth. In spirit means they are to be sincere from our heart. Being genuine and real to God is the most important. God already sees our hearts, so don't put on a fake it. Truth is the other pillar of prayer. We need to base our prayers on the promises and truth of Scripture. These will be receive greater condemnation. God did not forget what the religious leaders were doing. Not only were they responsible for their own sins, but they were also responsible for leading the people astray. God would remember and repay. If we are spiritual hypocrites like they were, we too will face the same condemnation. So we will meet in next Bible study. God bless you.